Jay and Neang Rous. The story of Jay and Neang Rous is very popular in the countryside of the Gap province where I spent the first 20 years of my life. This main character, Jay, is the stupid fellow, and the story is told in order to teach young person not to be like him. This style then is one of the means by which village people in their easy informed way educate their children to practice commonness in everyday life, and this is how it goes. Two young village people called Jay and Neang Rous were engaged to be married. One afternoon, as Jay was looking after cattle in the flock, Neang Rous walked up to him and they began to chat. Some of the young men said their son is sinking. We must go home before dark. He frankly looked at him very boldly. I want to see you again, she said. Tonight at my place. Jay was taken aback. I should sure would dare suggest such a meeting because Cambodian society is strict and young person cannot spend a lot of time together because they are married and especially not at night. He scratched. How can I go your place? Your father sleeps near the door, and if he hear me go up the stair into the home, he kill me. Neang Rous replied. Untie a roll to the basket and lower it from the window. If you sat in the basket, I pull you up to my room tonight. Keep touching your ear. When it feels cold, then it will be time for you to come to me. That night, as soon as his ear felt cold, Jay went to his fiancée home and sat in the basket beneath her window. But Neang Rous was not strong enough to pull him more than a few centimeters from the ground. Then the rope broke and the basket thumped down on the hard earth. Jay cried at the shaking he got, and the dog, woken by the noise, started to bang. Neang Rous' father, fearing that they were scaring his cattle, flashed downstairs with an axe. He stormed at the human from lying on the ground and just missed the head. As he began to try again, he was amazed to recognize his fatal son-in-law. What are you going here at this time of night? He gasped. I'm come to see your daughter. The father responded, scared and angry. How dare you? Whose idea was this? Jay hiding his head. Your daughter, Neang Rous. Come here, called the father. It is true that this way your idea. Yes, father. The father frowned. What a shameless girl you are. From the woman Neang Rous, parents designed to marry their couple immediately before anything should happen to disgrace their family. The next morning, Neang Rous' father said to Jay, I think you and my daughter should marry with Tom a day or two. Please go and buy some duck for the wedding. Fast. He gave Jay some money and sent him off to a nearby village famous for its fat duck. Close to the village, Jay saw many ducks swimming on the log pool. He sat as a small boy playing nearby. Do those ducks belong to you? The chief was amazed that a crowned man could think that a world-laid meat owned a whole flock of ducks. He instead that say, Yes, why? I'm going to be married, my boy, said Jay, and I need duck for my wedding feast. Will you sell me some? Clean, Secondly, replied their chief, you can have all of them of 300 real. But we'll have to catch them yourself. That is very good beginning. Some Jay and he spurred the boy who ran of us. First, as the last leg could carry him, the cunning Chilvers know that the bird on the pole was not fat, foreign duck whose wing will click, but an wind duck. As Jay went into the water to catch them, they flagged off. He watched as they rocked, hiding and higher into the sky. They must be going to heaven, he thought. By now, evening was falling and it began to rain. Jay thought settled under a chimney, the home of the ex of the village. It belonged to such a cattle who must have just married and were spending their first night together. When I am with you, my dear, said their husband on his young wife. I feel that I'm going to heaven. When Jay heard this, is calling a contact himself. If you go to heaven, he shall. Plus, please catch some duck for me. Who there? Said her husband. Burst apart to be alone. He grabbed at the stair rest downstairs and lodged into Jay, who fled for home in the rain and dark, without money and without duck. Neang Rous' father shook his head sadly when Jay told him what had happened, and the next day went himself to buy food for the wedding feast. A few days after the wedding, Jay's father-in-law told him, "We need an accent to pour our flag. Go and buy pole for me. Here the money." Then he added, "Remember, we are not rich, so please buy a pack of small animals, the smallest possible." Jay took the money and went to the farmer who had oxen for sale. The man showed him to the cattle by Jay, but Jay hesitated. "I wonder if this is all what my father-in-law wants. He asked me to buy a poor, very small animal, the smallest possible." The farmer, who was quick, right and cutting, said, "Just a woman. I may have something to serve you." He soothed Jay and poured off bad tea. "You see," he said, "this is a very small animal indeed." Jay gave to a sort of joy. Just the thing that must be exactly what that means. "Thank you so much," and he poured off the farmer and home. "Where are the animals?" asked his father-in-law. "Watch out that you sat on them," said faceless Jay. "They just want you one to the smallest possible, and here," point to the bed tea. What a stupid fellow you are," said his father-in-law sadly. One day a little later, Neang Rous said to Jay, "You better go to the lake and bathe before dinner. After you go, take a more bath too, just like the flower buffaloes do. It's very good for your skin." "Yes, dear," said Jay, hospitably, "and it exactly and it's the suggest." But the foolish fellow didn't watch off the moon and came home Patrice in brown, scary earth which beginning to hurting. "I don't feel comfortable. I'm happy to get this off," he said, and stayed to warm himself an old pillow. They must were so dry by now that the pillow cast through, and he got covering in the favor that fell out of it. "If Neang Rous see me like this, she should scold me," he thought, so he went to hide in up where the rich were scored. When Neang Rous came in, she noticed a strange fuge in the loft. She was frightened and ran to her father. He looked at the firing fat hiding in the saddle and said, "It must be the rich grass goat. Quickly bought some insect and call your mother to come so that we can add me and welcome the rice great good of our home. We are honored to have you here. Good of the age. He began respectfully. Home. We are honored to have you here, ghost of the age. He began respectfully. Which degradation is each that came to a familiar voice of the lost? How not you? Again, you stupid fellow, said the father in exasperation. His wife and daughter laughed at the queen brown and white Judah in the other chair back to the late to which of the main and Judah. In time, the cattle had a chill. One day, Nimrod asked Jay, will you look after the baby of me, which I'm going to flag to work? Certainly, said her husband. Soon after Nimrod left their home, the baby began to cry. Joy rocked it in the tiny pores, but the child cried on and on. I must see if there is anything wrong with it. He smiled the child torturously from the toes up. When he reached the top of its head, he noticed the poor bleeding verse to the two parts of the skin bone had not yet joined together. Look at the beginning parts, it must be a lobe. No wonder the baby crying, and believed getting the knife and laying the bone. He said to himself, he found a sharp knife and cut into the baby's head. Blood poured out, and as it life it poured away. The baby couldn't stop crying. When Nimrod came back, chased most proudly. You don't know how to look after our child? You wonder it cry, didn't you know it have a bowl and need loving? Now that I tend to be old, the baby doesn't cry anymore. Nimrod was to where the baby laid in the blood, should almost. You'll kill our child, she scoffed, her rings. Stupid Jay didn't know what to say. When the first feeling of skirt had in it, the left her, Nimrod said to Jay, you had better take our child body and bury it. Jay was of tiny from on the mat. Then, grabbing it under one arm and with tongue under the other, he went off of their little crest. He was so upset and is such a that he didn't notice when the die baby slipped off the mat under his arm and fell onto the road. He dug the crust, placed up the milk in it, covered it with earth, and walked back home. On the way, he came across the tiny body by the roadside. He took one look at in the rest of his life. Nimrod, he said, other baby have died too. I have just bring our child, but there other one lying there beside the road. Prevent that sickness going around. Nimrod went to see what had happened, and as soon he traced near to the child. On the road he pressed into the you drove our child and brought only the mat. How could you? She cried. This time she cried the baby body to give credit and stay with her foolish husband to make sure that their children were proudly pregnant. Nimrod left home very early in the morning to visit a friend in a nearby village because she went to outside. She said to her husband, when the sun came up, pull some rice out to try, not much, just enough for us tonight. Put it on some clothes or a mat, other old thing will do, even a skill. Left it in the hell all day. I cooked it when I came home. Jay could not find the pin of clothes or a mat. She said something about skin. He truth, perhaps my skin will do. So he picked up the first peck of rice and stone outside. All day he had full of rice, outstretched to the sun. When Nimrod came home, she found the rice fine and dry, and her husband so bored that she could hardly reconcile him. What a foolish man, she said. That not for object Jay, and do everything you ask, but you never bring me. That because you can't do anything right, replied Nimrod. And to think I will spend the rest of my life with you. And so she did, for Jay and Nimrod lived together until a triple X. I've heard that story so often I can't remember where I heard it first. Everyone in my province knows it. It's told by grandparents, parents, and society gathering. On the radio, boys learn to have commonness by laughing at the homeless Jay and thinking for themselves. I never do such silly things. I don't know the difference between the dark and firm dark. I wouldn't kill my own child. Parents refer to this story again and again. If a boy does something foolish, they touch him by calling him Jay. If a girl is cheeky, they're said, your name should be Nimrod. I am the only person in my family to discuss female education beyond primary school. I know that a university gives me a lot of information, but it doesn't necessarily make me anything worse that the village people regret up with. I have a strong admiration for the simple and present way in which village people engage their children in everyday life by using stories like Jay and Neang Rous.